Ladies and gentlemen, when I say that Clinton is running, not only will she run, but what she's doing right now is through representatives in the media, former campaign officials, they're putting out these psychological, these emotional ploys, these political stunts masquerading as articles. This is Philippe Reines. I played Trump in Hillary Clinton's 2016 debate prep. Well, you must not have done a very good job. I mean, Trump is president. He's going for 8 years. Here's what it takes to beat him. The entire article is about is why the current field of Democrats can't defeat Trump. But I'll get to that in a second. Definitely subscribe to HA2A. Check out my latest segment on why President Trump is not, I repeat, not racist. And I explain exactly why. That's in HA2A. I'm able to speak more freely on that channel. I'm building it, and it's going to correlate directly to, eventually it's going to correlate, right now it's a firearms channel, but directly it's going to correlate to my new website that'll help you defeat anyone with Trump derangement syndrome. Definitely also check out my Jerusalem Post op-ed below in the pinned comment on AOC, and my Federalist articles below in the pinned comment. Ladies and gentlemen, Philippe Reines essentially announced Hillary Clinton's 2020 campaign. He writes in Politico, okay, first of all, Philippe Reines was very important to Hillary Clinton's campaign. He was a top campaign official. But here are some of the statements he makes about the current field. So when people say, well, I haven't heard that Clinton's running. Yeah, you haven't heard because when she said she wasn't running, immediately after, Maggie Haberman stated, well, she wasn't closing the door. Then with Kara Swisher, before that with Kara Swisher, she said, well, I'd like to be president. She's running again. They have nobody. But looking at the field, 11 of the 20 candidates debating this week in Detroit are sitting or recently serving members of Congress. Why is that relevant? Because they question witnesses for a living. But then he goes on to say, to prepare myself for her grueling debate prep, I watched 15 Republican primary debates forums. These are qualities that make Trump. He talks about President Trump and how he's belligerent. And then he kind of goes on to say, here's the problem with most of the 2020 Democrats. That's what I was looking for. Here's the problem with most of the 2020 Democrats. Okay? Why do you think he is saying this? Why do you think he is writing this? Why do you think Willie Brown, former San Francisco mayor, very influential person within the Democratic Party, is writing in the San Francisco Chronicle that none of the current candidates can defeat Trump? And oh, by the way, I'm very good friends with the California senator, knowing her in the biblical sense. Why do you think he's going there? Here's the problem. And then Philippe Reines today, here's the problem with most of the 2020 Democrats. They are all politicians or former politicians, and most of them sound like it. The fact that you sponsored bipartisan legislation in the last Congress might be accurate, but phrasing it in that way in a debate against Trump is just going to look weak. So then he goes, but imagine if you didn't care whether you got the job, or worse, imagine if you've gotten every other job simply by being your obnoxious self with no filter. Okay? That's the issue here. The issue here is that they're disparaging the current field of Democrats. Hello? It's very easy to decipher. This is an obvious look. From purchasing the Steele dossier to outsourcing CrowdStrike to Alexander Downer to Joseph Mifsud to Natalia Veselnitskaya to Fusion GPS to Glenn Simpson to Christopher Steele to Mueller to Comey to Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan. Why do you think all this all happened? To help Amy Klobuchar get to the White House? So she can eat with a salad with a comb? to have Beto O'Rourke eat soil in a national address and address the nation? Could you imagine, Beto? State of the Union, he's taking out soil and consuming it in front of everyone. Why do you think this is taking place? She's not running. Dude, she's not running. Dude, she's running. Here's the problem with most of the 2020 Democrats. They are all politicians or former politicians. Then he goes, okay, a malevolent George Costanza, that guy is Donald Trump. This dynamic was on full display throughout 2016. And he goes on to talk about you need somebody tough. Gee, who do you think that's tough? Who do you think that's not really a politician? Although she was a senator, but whatever. Who's not currently a politician? Because he goes on to say, well, it is currently a politician. It's not very good with Trump, you know. Subscribe to HA2A, by the way. I'm even more myself. That could be a bad thing on HA2A. And definitely share the segment below on HA2A. But, I mean, you have so... The article here is full of a million examples of how she's kind of... The golden moo-moo will levitate above the DNC, I'm telling you. So forget the glass houses rule and get out your slingshot. Who do you think has a slingshot? Okay, a proverbial slingshot. Set aside what's right or wrong. Biden's reluctance to admit mistakes might be the exact right. So he's kind of what this is Senator Train, macho routine. The bottom line is that watching a candidate share a debate stage with 9 others might be one of the most important ways of deciding whom you like the most, but less useful in determining who is best to debate Trump. Well, what are you saying, Philippe? What are you saying? Are you saying that the debates currently aren't going to pick a winner? What do you mean by this? Why is Philippe Reines writing in Politico disparaging the current field of Democrats? Why do you think that is taking place? He's a political advisor. He was joined the State Department, a senior advisor to Hillary Clinton when she became Secretary of State from 2009. 2010 was promoted to the position of Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Strategic Communications. Gee, I wonder if he knows how Clinton transferred the top secret and special access program intelligence onto her servers. That would be interesting. He is one of the most important advisors that she has. Why do you think he's writing in Politico? To help Kristen Gillibrand? Why do you think he's writing in Politico? The Clintons don't do anything without strategy. They don't brush their teeth in the morning without tying it to some kind of strategic, decision or some kind of objective that they want to attain. The bottom line is that watching a candidate share a debate stage with 9 others might be one of the most important ways of deciding whom you like the most, but less useful in determining who is best to debate Trump. Really? You mean that, well, then who do they have? If they don't have people in the debate stage, then who are they? Oh, yeah, that's right. Clinton. The golden moo-moo. The Democratic Party is in shambles. I'll get to that in a second. If that were our sole criterion, we should skip the thoughtful policy discussion and instead require each candidate to debate a 10-year-old boy who responds with everything with, I know you are, but what am I? We've all had to. That kid is obnoxious, juvenile, insufferable, detestable. I can't believe smack-worthy? What? What kind of... What? These wonderful liberals are so... such great people. Most of all, the very definition of predictable. But that kid is hard to beat. Trump is hard to beat. That's the last sentence on this. Gosh, he's hard to beat. You mean de Blasio won't beat him? You mean de Blasio, the mayor who's loved by all New Yorkers? Yeah, right? Senior policy advisor to Hillary Clinton. Senior policy advisor Philippe Reines worked at the State Department with Clinton as she was transferring top secret and special access program intelligence onto servers outside of the United States government. Why do you think he's in Politico? Why do you think he's writing in Politico? And by the way, Politico still has integrity. It hasn't become the New York Times and Washington Post of the world yet. Politico is actually a publication that still has integrity. The point is that it's an establishment, DC, respected publication, Politico. He's writing in Politico for a reason. Give me your thoughts below. Clinton is running again. She's running. She'll announce either before or after the third debate. It's going to be a repeat of Clinton versus Trump. And there's nobody the Democrats have. And if people say, I am the only person, not only the only person saying this, but I wrote this in the Huffington Post in 2017. That will be below in the pinned comment. Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. Now I'm a Trump supporter, and thank God we're going to have 8 years of Trump. The Democratic Party is sinister. I mean, vile and sinister. Give me your thoughts below. Subscribe to HA2A. It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. She's back. It's going to be Clinton versus Trump again. Trump will win. Thank you very, very much.